Consider supporting Sonic Guru Productions on Patreon for just $1 a month. Link below in the description. Hello, welcome back to the Sonic Boom TV Review Podcast. I'll just call it Boomcast from now on. I don't care.
So
that's
many
what
copyrights.
that's what our little group is. That's what our little group is called. Again, I am joined with Niki, Worms T17. Hi,
I'm still
Maytude,
waiting for when he's coming on this then.
James, hi, Maytude. And
tonight's broadcast is brought to you by...
Everybody thinks I'm crazy. Yeah. Yes, sirree, that's me, that's me.
Yes, sirree.
That's what I'm cracked up to be.
That's
Chop
me.
a hole and a retreat. Knock on wood.
Oh, we're going to get such a copyright claim after that.
It's less than 30 seconds. Who the hell cares?
Oh, thank God.
And our guest from last time, Clint.
Hello.
Now you will never be able to sleep again.
No, I'll just put Sonic Underground intro on repeat, and that will just get rid of it.
I can't believe that you're
you
trying
will
to
go
bring
to
that
work
back.
and you will be thinking of it all day. Everybody thinks I'm crazy.
No, I've got Starbomb on CD, so I'm fine.
Oh.
Shame on Vector the Crocodile for trying to bring Sonic Underground back.
What a messed up dream that would be.
Just do it in comic form. Archie, you fucking
And then he
assholes, for
takes
lying
off-
to us.
You promised us one thing, but you never delivered on that.
And then he takes off his costume and he's really Carol Channing underneath.
Anyway, from last time, we're continuing with episode 30 of season 2, or episode 82 from the entire long-run series. Flee in from trouble.
It's a pun.
It's a pun.
I love
It wasn't me just trying to say flee in, it's just that's the way it's spelled.
That's how it's pronounced.
So the general synopsis of this is Eggman unleashes a group of robotic fleas to attack the Sonic crew, and no one else.
That's it.
That's it. That's the whole thing.
That's pretty much the plot.
But what they do is still pretty amusing. Well, I remember, you get that montage of Orbot and Cubot, sneaking the flea bots onto Sonic and crew. And I just love, the scene with Sticks the most. It's like, be careful so no one hears. And you see how they drill a little hole. And then immediately Sticks bursts out, who's there?
Well, she would be the first one to know if someone was drilling in their house.
She's the only one who's like Deadpool and knows what the fourth wall is.
And, we see, the characters are trying to hide the fact that they have fleas, and Sticks just comes out openly scratching herself. You guys have fleas too, huh?
They fall over.
Well,
Yeah,
I love when Sticks, when they're all blaming each other for who possibly gave each other fleas. I loved how Sticks all of a sudden things like Tails is a spy because he tries saying it doesn't matter whose fault it is. She's like, that's what Patient Zero would say, and then she charges Tails. He steps back and does a little pose try me. That was so funny.
Well, this is the same person who basically tried to kill him after saying why.
It's just so funny to see Tails do a pose like that. He's ready for it. You see Sonic and Knuckles holding Sticks back. Oh, that was so funny.
Yeah, they start this episode out with Eggman trying to do another attack with a giant robot, huge bot, because he's so clever. And that's where he gets this idea afterward that maybe because this is bigger is not necessarily better because the machine malfunctions. It's slowly working and whatnot, and that's the whole gag. And so he decides. So that's where this whole flea idea comes from.
Originally, it starts with Eggman just not getting his Choco Num Num bars.
Because let's be fair, that's how Eggman in this universe acts. Basically, if he doesn't get his way, he'll just throw a tantrum.
Pretty much.
You went from taking over the world and enslaving all the animals to this.
I will admit his plan was creative, though. I liked how, instead of, he realized that the reason why his plans are failing because he keeps making such bigger robots, which leaves bigger messes. And so, what should I do? Cubot, you should go even bigger! more. No, I was thinking going a little smaller, and then he creates little flea bots, and that was actually pretty creative, especially with what happens later on in the episode. When the gang finds out they have flea bots.
Yeah. I'm going to admit, this is probably I haven't got too much to say in this episode because if I'm honest, I mean it is there are some funny bits as you mentioned, but most of it is just them scratching it. It's funny, but it's like kind of nothing really special about that. I mean, the only two things that stand out for me were them inadvertently beating the shit out of each other, as in they were, oh, I'm so sorry for doing that, whack, and all that business, which I was watching this thinking, this is like a bottom routine.
I was surprised they didn't censor that. I mean, you actually see Sonic,
it's basically
Sonic like punching sticks in the face. You see Tails like spin kicking Amy on the head. It's just like, wow, they didn't censor any of it.
I might as well ask you this, Clint. Did they do like that flash frame thing where sometimes they cover the hit of a character because that's what they do to cover up?
I don't think they did this time. If they did, it happened really quickly though. I mean, they didn't bother. You actually see Sonic, punching sticks.
Actually connecting to the face.
Yeah, and so you see like Sonic punching Knuckles in slow motion. You see Knuckles like club Sonic on the head with a log, and so Amy, she hammers Tails on the foot. It's like, dang, they did not hold. And then we don't see who it was, but Stick, she is like, punching someone on the ground.
Well, they did the whole cloud of smoke routine. That's about as close to censoring as they get.
Yeah, but
I mean that's like the classic one you do to sort of cover up violence,
The fact they actually showed violence though before the cloud showed up is what made it funny. It's like, dang, they did. And then after all that, they only knocked off 2 little flea bots and a 2.
Yeah. So there's that, and then there's the battle at the base in which they basically beat all the robots by still scratching themselves. I thought, okay, that's a fun little climax they've changed instead of just, a bashing of robots, them inadvertently breaking them while itching themselves.
Well, I thought there were more funny moments than just those, though. Before the battle, there was a lot of funny jabs at the villagers in this episode.
I was going to say,
no pun intended.
Yeah.
They finally made an episode where one of the characters flat out calls out how bad the police officers are, and Knuckles is that person of all people.
All the characters, it'd have to be him.
Yeah, don't you? Well, when they're in quarantine, it's just Mark just comes along.
Mark the Taper makes a reappearance. It's like, it's like they didn't do much, and it's like, I was kind of hoping they would do more of him if he ever showed up again, but it was still kind of funny seeing him do like a little tour of.
Here is the plague house.
There's Amy Rose wearing a flea collar like an indoor cat or something.
Yeah, there's that bit. I mean, like I said, there's really those 2 bits. Again, most of the episode's okay for what it is, but it's like I said, the setup basically is just the main joke is they get fleas and various attempts to get rid of them or just itching themselves. Like, fair enough.
I personally thought it was one of the funnier episodes. It was a simple episode. I mean, but I thought it was done pretty well, though. I mean, we've seen flea episodes before, but some of them are pretty forgettable. I thought this one was still, pretty decent.
It was amusing.
It's a simple plot. It's a simpler plot than most, but it's like, especially after the 4-parter Robots in the Sky.
I was going to say,
it's like all of a sudden it's just back down to normality. It's like a bit jarring, but at least like the act. It's like not only the voice actors, I think the writers are having a bit of fun with it. It's like okay, what can we do to pack this out, but at the same time keep it fun.
I didn't think it was the weakest episode to come from after, the 4 parts. I thought there were definitely a lot of weaker episodes after that, but I thought this was one of the few where, although it wasn't great, it wasn't bad.
Anyway, before we get on to ratings, I just want to there's a little bit of trivia here for some of you folks. You mentioned earlier the bit where Oddbot and Cubot, given the flea bots, they have their own not quite Mission Impossible theme throughout that segment.
Yes, that will continue to be a thing throughout the rest of the series.
Oh, trust me, this show has been the adamant of we're doing tunes not quite much to get in copyright, but enough so you can put the 2 and 2 together.
Benny Hill and his team are like top of your head, the ones you hear the most.
Yeah. Another one is the scene where Knuckles is spinning around on the floor. That's basically Curly from the 3 Stooges.
You're looking at the Sonic Wiki too, aren't you?
Yeah, well, I do remember this. Actually, one funny fact is apparently that there's a moment where Sonic and Knuckles break into this sheep's village house.
What is with this person? What is this sheep villager? She just sort of came out of nowhere.
It's a she? I thought that was a he, but...
Well, there are two different sheep. I mean, there's the goat lady, which is a different person, and...
Well, like the one who appeared in a Midnight Hour.
I was going to say the one that is a sheep.
Like, that's the sheep we're talking about.
Yeah. He does make a return in one of the episodes later on. We'll get to.
Because Sonic has a suspicion of who has the remote that controlled the flea bots, and so you think he's going to burst into Eggman's lair. Instead, he bursts into that sheep. Hand over the control, you lousy! And the sheep person was like watching TV, right? So Sonic, come to think of it, Eggman probably has it. That was so unexpected.
And Eggman is a child because, like, I play the episodes in the background, so like I get my phone playing by.
Get a refresh, yeah.
Yeah, so Eggman's a 5-year-old when it comes to eating chocolate. It's like it's like 10% face.
How does he store all that fat in his chest as opposed to his waistline? That's what I want to know.
Well, if we're going by 06...
Girdle.
I remember so many people made like immature comments of like that image with Eggman with chocolate all over his face. It's like, oh, grow up, people.
Well, if it seems...
like poo.
Exactly. I didn't want to spell it out, but yeah, that's basically.
Let's be
like
fair.
Brazers.
I think our audience have watched South Park. They know what happens when you put brown color in an animated show.
Brazers. That's the
I
internet.
thought you were going to say Dirty Sanchez, but anyway.
Yeah. There's not much class in that.
Okay, so do we rate this episode?
I rate it 3.5.
It's
It's still fun, but it's a very simple concept.
4 out of 5. It's simple but effective. It's funny.
3 broken teeth out of 5.
I'll bet you if anything, it came from Knuckles. It wouldn't be the first time she got a tooth out of him.
True. Like I said, to me, it's about... I'll give it 2.5. I mean, it's okay, but it's, again, an episode I wouldn't want to rewatch on purpose unless it was on telly, which I'm looking at you, Sega of Europe.
Oh, called out, and the gauntlet is thrown.
Oh yeah, the gauntlet has been thrown, and it's at the front door.
The gauntlet has been thrown many times. It's on a pinwheel. You just have to jump through it at when a time comes.
Yeah, I just put a pinwheel and a gauntlet on the front door, and it just goes around regularly. So,
do you do drive-by gauntlet throwings? Just
I can't get
on the street with a yo-yo string attached to the gauntlet. Open up the window and go. Next house.
I haven't thought about that, but maybe next time.
Okay.
Anyway, next episode is the Lightning Bowler Society. So now we have an episode not exactly one of the few episodes not exactly focused on the Sonic crew.
No, it's focused on the Lightning Bolt Society, who become surprisingly effective, more effective as a bowling team than they are at being actually evil.
Yeah.
I personally didn't care for this episode. It had moments, but I just wanted
the
to
opening moment's fun because they're trying to attack the Sonic crew with some fruitcake. Which surprisingly is heavier than a boulder 10 times its size.
Well, isn't that kind of the joke? I know this is more like American thing. Is basically fruitcake is something people dread, or it's a heavy piece of thing that nobody wants to touch.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Is it
any Christmas special, that'll be like the butt of the joke, fruitcake.
I don't know. Is it marinated?
More than likely it's going to last about several decades in someone's house.
Yeah, so there's always that gag.
Yeah, that part was actually pretty. And I love how Amy just like took them all out just with one swing of her hammer. it's like sadly
he's out. Just to have a tea party in the middle of a bombardment.
Yeah, sadly Amy was kind of ignored throughout most of the episode. That's what kind of like I'll admit she had some good moments, but it's like okay, why wasn't she bowling with they could have made like a simple excuse like coin toss and Or I wish they kind of explained why she was just standing there in the background. It's like, okay, why isn't she bowling?
I don't know. I mean, I was thinking that as well because I just don't. Maybe she was not interested or whatever excuse she wanted there. But maybe they just couldn't think of any funny thing to do with her.
And then
At least like she can't throw the ball, but at least let her play golf with it.
Yeah.
I mean, and then she wasn't involved with trying to get the lightning bolts back together, but she did have two good moments towards the end, though. You know, she actually called Eggman out on reusing the same robots over and over. That was like a jab on, you know, fans making fun of how, they keep using the same 3D models over and over. And you could say Amy kind of saved the day in the end. She was the one who took out, you know, Eggman's robot by swinging her hammer at a bowling ball and knocking its head clean off. It's like that's all Amy was used for, though. She didn't really get many scenes, but so it's like anything she did really well, it just got overlooked. You know, it just got over. So it's like, I kind of wish they did a little more with Amy in this episode, but because the only good thing about this episode for me was what happened with Sonic and pals. I mean,
Sonic starts becoming obsessed over the fact that he lost.
He obsessed over winning.
It was funny, but kind of off. It's like, wow, Sonic's willing to have like these 4 losers be evil just so he can beat them at bowling. It's like, I mean, I'll admit his interactions were funny, but his motives were just messed up.
This is
a hero?
To be fair, this is one of the few times where his ego does start to go overboard, and you know.
But I'd be lying if I didn't say it made me laugh. I mean, Roger Craig Smith, you know, like how he was just going like, they're getting to our heads, man. We have to win. We have to win. Or what the heck is a chameleon? You know, it's like, yeah, like his energy in that episode was so funny, but it's like his motives behind it were just like, wow, that's.
I'm surprised. Excuse you, James. I'm surprised, particularly with Roger. I mean, again, there was that period when people. Well, me and Dan know this, you know, going back a few while when he was announced as the new voice and everybody's like, we want Griffith. You want to get rid of him. What the hell's wrong with you people? You never make your mind up. And it is, as I said before, the show does prove that you take these actors and put them, or you give them different inflections when they tell their lines, then they can just go to town with them, especially, as I said, the series, they give more out of their characters than they ever did in the game series, and that's part of the fun of it.
Yeah, it's like, even though, Mike Pollock just gets constant questions about Eggman.
I mean, he just plays it. He doesn't know.
I feel guilty. I used to be that way, but you know, when I realized what was going, it's like, okay, I'm gonna stop. You know, be respectful.
I asked one. Basically, do you actually have any favorite lines you spoke? And that was it. It's like he doesn't know. He just reads them. Well, he did say he prefers doing comedy than he does doing serious stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But you can tell that when you play Forces. You can tell it's like he wants to be evil, but he can't help it.
Well, I thought this episode was kind of wasted opportunity because I remember when, you know, people were discussing, season 2 is going to happen. What would be a good? I remember suggesting I'd love to see a bowling episode. Just see Sonic and Pals bowling. I mean, there's so many funny things they could do. You know, like they could have Knuckles accidentally mess up. Sonic laughs, then Knuckles picks up Sonic, uses him as a bowling ball, or you see Eggman use Orbot as a bowling ball. There's just so many things they could have done if they made an episode of just Sonic and Pals bowling, and that, you know, that part got over so quickly, and it's a shame too because that was, you know, like I especially laughed when Styx, you know, she threw the ball, she missed it, and then she just tackles the pins. So Sonic and Knuckles have to drag her out of the gutter. That was so funny, and it's like, God, I wish the episode was more like that.
I will admit, I've done stuff like that when you put something up, it falls over, then you get that mist of rage in, and you just want to break the thing out of petty anger.
Everybody in the group that was
Sonic Knuckles dragged her.
Yeah, I think it's the majority of the episode though. Just kind of after the bowling stuff, it's like, it's about Percy's twin sister Stacy hooking up with the tree guy. I can't remember his name.
Yeah,
and
one who can't
really shallow. It's like she's dating something she obviously doesn't love for who he is. She's trying to make him something he's not, and
you know, like celebrities do.
That's what really killed the episode for me. It put too much focus on the lightning bowlers, and I just don't care for those characters. And
I mean,
so
that's
the fact Sonic's like trying to get them back together. It's like, no, just leave them as they are. God damn it! You know,
it's the sort of the classic story of the band gets together, the band gets too much ego, and then they break up. It's the Beatles.
I was
Yeah, I was
actually
going
going
to say it's pretty. Was it Yokohama?
Yeah, but it's been done.
Yoko
now.
Ono.
It's
That's
been
the
done
one,
to
Yoko
death.
Ono.
Yoko Ono. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-dum.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It's just that we've seen that plot so many times though,
The
and so
Simpsons did it. Simpsons did it.
They
I was
did.
actually going to say,
they've probably been done better too, is the thing.
actually, not.
So, yeah, the episode had funny moments, but overall, it's just if I recall, this was probably like somewhere in like my top 5 least favorite episodes of season 2.
It
was
has the
actually gonna
best
say-
ending gag, though, as
Oh, yeah.
Niki has noted.
Oh yeah. Hopefully Dan's going to put this up. But undoubtedly, this is one little piece of trivia: is apparently the ending face, as they end on. Apparently, that was a storyboard artist just did it for fun, and they just loved it so much they put it in the episode.
And they had like a cuckoo clock sound effect. Yeah, that was kind of funny, I'll admit.
Yeah. So yeah. So as I said before, Boom Sonic has been mentally and physically tortured more than regular Sonic. So this proves it.
Mm-hmm.
At least there's actually a result of it, rather than say, "Hey, 6 months, you're in a space prison." That's fine.
I'm bored. You know.
He's been tortured for months. He's just in handcuffs.
He's just bored.
He's perfectly unscathed.
In the Japanese,
They've been giving him the water torture. They've been waterboarding him, you know.
no, he actually just put a chili dog to his face and
No,
let
he
him bite it.
He just puts a glass of water by him. I
Yeah.
know you're afraid of water, Sonic.
Sorry, two other things I want to say is actually James reminded me the Beatles whole thing. There actually was a Powerpuff Girls episode where he just riffed the whole Beatles career with villains.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh yeah, the
Meet the Beatles.
Yeah, which, like I said, it's them doing an abridged version of the entirety of the Beatles' history, including the moment when one of them falls in love with someone and ruins the band. You know, because apparently, and we were just saying this earlier about because apparently females ruin everything, including Star Wars. And don't take that.
They don't.
No, they don't.
It's only to some.
Apparently,
only
to
some
crazy people it does, but what do we know? We're Sonic fans, so what can we say?
And we just seen so many episodes like that where a band gets together and they break. I remember Jimmy Neutron did it. Back at the Barnyard did it.
I know, but you know, again, I'm pretty sure someone. I'm surprised actually no one's actually brought it up as a big feminist agenda thing, but thank God for that.
I guess I
Back at the
have this.
Barnyard, oh yes, that Emmy Award winner.
Oh God, that's stupid.
I guess I have.
I think out of all of them, it's like what can you do to change it? Basically, well, first of all, the formula is a fucking say like, oh, we're a gang now, so basically we are unstoppable as it, and you break up. Bond society, you break up. I think Simpsons was a more direct regulation of it.
Well, it could have been worse, I'll admit. At least they did it to the lightning bolts and not Team Sonic. I mean,
That is true.
You know, I mean, where they break that would have been annoying. I mean,
the problem I would say, this again, I might have said this before, so if anybody's rewatching this in the marathon, if you do, what the hell are you doing in your life? But
watch this in the background while doing something else, because that's what I do.
Then again, do it, please. We need the views. But the one thing I have said before is that a lot of the side characters in the villages, in my opinion, they're not really interesting enough to make a whole episode about, and that's my one issue. Isn't they're fun as like one-off, bouncing off the main characters?
Yeah, like the Mike the Ox.
Exactly. Like you can give them something fun to do, but if you make them the focus, and particularly in this case, well, they're kind of again, they're not terrible characters. They've got some funny quirks, but they're not that interesting in my opinion.
One thing I will give credit for this episode, they gave Stacy a personality rather than ruining Percy's.
Yeah, but I can't say it was a very likable personality, though. It kind of made it.
No, because
way to go, Percy.
Yeah.
At least, yeah, get that line in the game. Because Percy's already has a personality in the game. It's just like, oh, we used the model twice and we showed it. It's like, okay, she has a twin called Stacy. Why not? You know, except the Dreamboat Express one, where you see 5 of them, but still. But at least like Stacy has been given a name and a personality now, and it's not someone's already been established, especially from Big Red Button's perspective.
Yeah,
do we need to know more about the lineage of Lady Walrus? There were more of those.
No, we know exactly what she's like.
Yeah, I'm surprised the
Who's
Walrus
the
male.
father?
I'm surprised Walrus male isn't her husband. You think he would have been? It's like, oh no, he's just Walrus male. He's
also, he did the Fred Flintstone.
Yes, that old gag. Yeah, that old little tribute act.
I did that with Wii Bowling once. I did get a strike.
Well,
It works. It works.
Brilliant.
back to what you said about the villagers, Nikki. I was gonna say, like, that's one reason why the episode Robot Employees worked better, because they took, a villager and actually paired him with a main character, and what they were able to do with that is what, they had Styx have to team up with Dave, and the setup was good, and it's like, wow, Dave was actually useful for once, and
And not just the guy who sits in the background and does his silly voice. It's supposed to be funny.
I mean, because you had like scenes with the lightning bolts in it, but I didn't think they took away from the episode. They're kind of like a decoy. Okay, they're gonna tear down Meber, but then all of a sudden, free burgers, and then the lightning bolts just ditch him, for it, and so it's like, okay, that happened, but it didn't take away from the episode.
It's like even his own crew will ditch him for free food.
Mm. And so I kind of set up, a reason for him to team up with Styx later, and so.
So anyway, rate.
Okay.
Okay, so let's rate this bad boy.
2. We had some good moments at the beginning and the end, but in between, it was just, I could not give 2 shits about the characters.
Exactly.
So 2 out of 5 for me.
I'm gonna give 3 out of 5 Cuckoo Clock Sonics. Just that moment saved the episode, but like I said, I'm gonna forget this ever happened in a few years outside of that face.
Yeah.
I wish I could fake guilt tripping, but it still fucking hurts.
Oh.
That's still Dan's least favorite episode.
Oh,
You
God.
Oh, which one?
I'm saying, what do you rate this episode?
2 out of 5.
Okay. Again,
Yeah, I was just saying, like, the guilt tripping episode 9 from season 1, was the fucking worst.
I thought that one was okay. It wasn't. I thought it had funny moments. I didn't think it was as bad as people made it. I wouldn't say it was one of the best, though. It was definitely one of the worst, but I wouldn't say it was like an absolute terrible episode.
Again,
They need to get rid of the Gogoba village.
well, we've already
I
talked
love how
about that.
season
Everybody knows not to go near them. That is the one thing they've learned throughout the series.
Yeah.
I like how season
Especially after Eggheads, which is one of the better episodes.
Mhm. Well, yeah, I'll admit that was kind of like one of the first episodes where I go kind of like, oh, that's not as good as the others. I was actually one who can actually defend the episode Buster, by the way. I don't think it's as bad as people say.
It's not bad. It's just, again, the main joke is slime. Nickelodeon. But...
Okay.
I didn't, like a lot of people say, like that was where the show started going downhill. I'd say no.
Oh,
That's
that was
No, that Buster's opening was just perfect.
Oh yeah, definitely. That was the thing.
But anyway, moving on to episode 32, Planes, Trains, and Dude Mobiles.
Oh God, I love this.
Oh boy.
Apparently, Dreamboat Express was such a big hit. Tails actually gets a call to say, "Hey, we're going on tour, so let's go on a road trip with Knuckles and Sonic." And that's it.
So
And
basically,
Sonic forgot all about it, apparently.
well, I was going to say, imagine the Sonic equivalent of National Lampoon's Vacation.
Mm-hmm. That's the formula that's at play here, but it's still quite amusing. They have they have a lot of moments in play here that really make the episode where the humor at play is again what saves this, and just one of the best moments in the entire series that you never knew that you needed, but you had this. Huh?
A Sonic X reference?
Oh yeah, on the
It gets pulled over. I'll fight this in car, but I don't think "gotta go fast" is going to be an excuse. No, it's "gotta go fast" is not a medical condition.
Oh yeah, the line.
So what was it, James?
No, I'm talking about the Duditude rap.
Yes, I loved it. I loved how like people already made like "what is love" memes out of that. I'll even admit when that episode aired, I made a GIF out of Knuckles, Sonic, and Tails just
doing the head bob. That sort of
Do that to any song, really, with that thing.
Here's the thing about that.
Would it go with Guile's theme though?
Maybe. Maybe a remix of Guile's theme. Sorry, go on.
Here's the thing. We have an entire culture of folks on YouTube, DJs and whatnot that could totally give this an extended remix. Why has that not happened yet? Why is this not gravitated to a meme beyond somebody touching my spaghetti?
Because it's Sonic, unless it actually pushes the envelope like Uganda Knuckles did, and they're still fucking alive.
I think it's more the case of making fun of the series. I think that's the only time the meme happens.
Oh, we forgot to mention before, before they got in the car and did that, I did like, when Amy said, "Have fun on your trip, boys. Don't do anything I want to do." Sonic, thought you said to have fun. Yeah,
My bastard.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about it afterwards, but the episode that follows this, that's what helped make this episode even better. But
we'll get to that. Yeah, they have their little rap number. The rest of it is just them trying to get to the concert, and everything happens in between. I wasn't the only one. But they pick up a crazy stranger on the road there. I wasn't the only one thinking of Tiny Toons How I Spent My Vacation when that happened.
I knew it straight from when it was happening, thinking, oh, they totally saw that.
Well, I just loved how, we interrupt this broadcast of silence. I mean, that was hilarious, because how many shows do that where, radios don't immediately turn on when, a big announcement comes up, and so I thought that was so hilarious. We break up this, station of silence. That was just
Well, this is the second gag, because the first time they did it was we interrupt this use of properly broadcast music.
No, very rare does TV shows actually acknowledge that the TV or radio is actually having something. I think the only one I can think of is Family Guy, when they say, because you turn away from the TV, it doesn't mean the actual TV stops actually talking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go on.
I have to wonder, though, there's three of them and one of this guy. He should be a done deal, but of course this is a jokey episode. So
I was going to say, this is in the Boomverse, and let's be fair, they can go from being heroic to being pathetic quite easily.
You got to admit, though, for like a TV Y7 show, they did get pretty dark with this band. I mean, he nearly tried strangling Knuckles for no reason. It's like you can tell like probably when they pitched this, they actually did have it around his neck, but they're probably like, no, that's a little too gruesome. Okay, we'll just have it around his shoulders. But the way he was yanking, it's like, oh, he was trying to strangle Knuckles. He was trying to choke him. You can tell.
It's funny because I do, as James mentioned, this is somewhat a riff on the Tiny Toons bit with Plucky's drive and the Crazy Man, which, if you watch that clip, there's a whole sequence where he's literally pulling a chainsaw. You can see him constantly doing that. And there's a whole gag with him literally chainsawing the entire car up. So
gotta admit, though, they really did a good job of making this guy look so demented. I mean, when you first see him, there's that flash. It's like, holy shit, you're just so not used to seeing something so creepy in a Sonic cartoon.
Actually, here's one kind of funny little thing, is because they're supposed to have to go to the other side of the island, and the environments we get is basically the desert, the valley, the jungle, the volcano part. So I'm just trying to figure out how much of that has been reused or them.
I'll admit they did a good job at trying to disguise it, though. I mean, because when I first watched it, I almost thought those were new locations. And then rewatching it, it's like, oh, these are areas we've seen. Well, at least they did something with it.
A new perspective, maybe they put it at a different angle so you wouldn't tell. That's the cheap way of doing it and the efficient way of doing it.
I do admit it doesn't quite make sense. They tried saying, the night the sequence with the bandit, they tried making it look like it was nighttime. Apparently, no, it was just a really dark.
No, it was just a gag. It was just a gag to make it look threatening.
It's like, I don't buy that. It was nighttime during that scene.
Well,
the way it looked. There's no way there's that much shade in a forest to make it look so pitch black.
Well, you bend reality to just get a point across. Let's be fair.
I'm not going to say it took away from the episode. It's just little things you notice, but I wouldn't say it ruined. Oh, how could we forget to mention, the police officer who keeps pulling Sonic over? I mean, those are actually funny scenes.
Yeah, well, we did mention this is now... I'm trying to think, actually, because I think Clint pointed this out once to me, was that nearly all the characters have gone to jail except for Amy. That's the one thing. kind of the strange little factoid about this series.
Yeah, it's a bit too
I'll-
prim and proper to do so.
I'd say with the case of the same police officer pulling them over and over as a running gag.
Yeah,
It's a little bit less. It's a little bit less vacation, more Odd Couple too. So.
Well, it's like a parody of road trip movies.
Yeah,
Well, you can say that
movies do this all the time.
Well, again, the title "Planes, Trains, and Automobiles," what this whole episode's ripped its title from anyway. So.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So you might as well.
How do we forget to mention the part where Sonic is getting tired of all the pit stops Tails and Knuckles are making, and so he calls Amy out of boredom and
yeah, he calls it. Surprisingly, after he calls Amy, and afterwards it's like they're visiting like the world's largest rocket chair, and so Knuckles just goes, "Look about our gift stop, a scaled down version of the world's largest rocking chair, and it literally is a rocking chair."
Which apparently that does exist in the real world. Apparently, this is a real thing.
Well, I can have their large, full-scale Gundam statue.
I think it's trippy how they how they interweave the events of this episode and the next episode.
Yeah, we should mention that this is, technically speaking, I wouldn't call this a two-parter. This is like two side stories. But
I would call it a two-part.
Well, I remember calling it before it even happened because I remember when they before these episodes aired, I remembered how they announced one episode would be about Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. They didn't mention this was a vacation. They just said the band is getting back together. And so yeah, it really fooled with your mind. You thought this was going to be another concert episode, and surprisingly, it wasn't. But I didn't care anyways. I was too entertained. And so then they said the next episode would be about Belinda attacking Amy and Styx while they're on vacation. And so I wondered, are these episodes going to be connected? They're by the same writers. What if while Sonic, Tails, and then I even theorized, what if this whole trip was actually a plot, set up by to get rid of Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, and then, they figured, Styx and Amy aren't going to be much to take care of, and so it didn't quite happen like that, but it's still interesting how those episodes still connected.
They pulled a Harvey Beaks with how this was with this show with these two episodes back to back.
Well, I was going to say again, we'll get more to how this episode, why it is, and when we get to the next one. But the other thing I should definitely mention this before we get ratings is. Let's be fair, the random use of their version of Push It to the Limits to Gotta Go Fast as their climax.
Oh, for the music?
Yes.
Where Sonic actually has the Blue Force 1.
Which
is they only made its third appearance in the entire season.
Well, it was kind of cheesy, but I don't care. It was still awesome.
I was laughing at the song. I just felt like, I can't believe they did this.
It's like you can tell that's Roger's voice, It's like you can just imagine Sonic, It's like, God, someone should do that. Just make an animated version of Sonic singing that. So you go like, oh, yeah!
Well, they could. Source filmmaker and Gmod people have animated other stuff from Sonic, so why not?
Why not?
Someone even animated the kind of on-the-spot interview with Ryan Drummond.
Oh yeah, that. Yeah, God, that was bizarre.
I love it when people animate, like the live Twitter interviews with Sonic and Eggman. Those are pretty funny.
I mean, that's just pure gold for you just to do.
What's your favorite anime show? Mine is the one with the giant scissor girl.
I laughed so hard at that Kill la Kill reference. It's like, Shadow would love that.
Being who he is. Although I got to admit, the other thing that made me laugh was that
I would say that's the only Shadow voice I can do.
Right.
I don't like Kurt Thornton's Shadow, but that's the only one I can do.
All right. Because after everything that happened in the episode, the whole joke at the end is basically they get there and it turns out Tails got it wrong, and then
it's next week they have to be there.
And so it looks like he's about to kill him.
I will admit that got a laugh out of me. You think it's gonna be one of those? They're late. And it's like, no, they're too early.
Same difference.
Yeah. And then you see
they can just find a hotel and
chases after Tails.
They can just find a hotel and stay there for a week.
Well, let's be fair. This is on a Hedgehog who wouldn't sit still for like a minute. I mean, they did a whole episode on that in X where he's stuck on a boat and he's like, "Get me off this thing!"
Well,
Yeah,
it's not like he has much of a threat to deal with in. It's not like they have much of a threat to deal with in the next episode.
Yeah.
Back home, but in any
Yeah.
case, for this episode, in terms of ratings, I'm just gonna give it because it's solely focused on delivering the laughs, a couple of silly movie references. I'm surprised they didn't. If they're gonna do planes, trades, and automobiles, I'm surprised they didn't do due date. But then again, we would probably have a plot involving Sonic racing back to Amy about to give birth to their child, so that would be a little weird.
Oh, that'll be on fanfic.net by the minute.
Yeah.
Way to give them.
I give this episode for its sense of humor, for Zoe waving pictures in the background out of 5.
I was actually surprised by that actually was there.
Yeah, there is some little photo jokes in the van.
Well,
not to mention
small fact actually, the voice actress voices both Tails and Zoe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
But they didn't. They didn't. No, you fucking did you?
Unless they saw our review of the episode the last time, so they may still remember that.
So, and yeah, I think also there was the comic book stand outside one of the stores, there was they used one of the Sonic comics.
Yes, that was
issues.
in the unnamed episode.
Boy bands.
It would be
a prequel too.
it would be such an odd little nod, like remember this comic? Yeah, it's about to go down. Just like this show.
Anyway, your ratings, Dan, Clint?
About 3. It's like this is a very average episode for me.
Okay.
4.5 out of 5. It did not go the way I was expecting, but that's a good thing. It's like you're expecting one thing and excited for it, but then you get something else, but you don't care anyways. I mean, that's pretty good storytelling, if you ask me.
All right. I'd just give it a 3. Although I would have, as you said, if they were going to do anything from planes, trains, and automobiles, should have had the scene where Sonic's just losing it in front of someone. Give me a fucking car or a fucking...
Thank goodness they didn't recreate the pillow scene. Yeah. Sonic waking up.
I don't fucking care.
Yeah. Or better yet, they're in bed as like, what's that? That's not your hand.
Those are pillows.
Someone get me a freaking chili dog.
Yeah. Who knows?
Thank goodness they didn't recreate that scene with Sonic and Knuckles or something like that.
They
totally went with them too.
They light the dude mobile on fire with a cigarette.
See, this is why we need to be in the writers' room. We're pitching jokes.
Here's the French translation for the
I
episode.
was going to say
on foot, on horseback, and in the potomobile.
Yeah, that was a strange thing.
I don't remember them going on foot except for going into the shops. I don't remember the horseback. So maybe there's a movie title reference in France that we're just not getting here.
Who knows? Well, let's be fair. They make the show, so they can do what they want.
Exactly. All right.
Moving on to the part 2 of the B plot.
Mm-hmm.
Sticks and Amy's excellent staycation.
I wonder where that's from.
Excellent. Wild Stallions. Okay.
So the overall plot is basically Amy and Sticks decide to have fun on their own, like women do, or girls do. Like having that relaxing spa.
Amy wants to knit, then Amy comes up with the perfect solution to satisfy both ends. But before she does that, they realize they need to keep Eggman at bay. And so Amy puts up a Sonic doll, which she keeps around for
non-creepy reasons.
Other purposes, and definitely non-creepy reasons.
We know that's her waifu. We all know it.
And
husbando. It's called a husbando.
All right, fair enough.
So she hangs up the Sonic doll. Eggman comes across it. He thinks it's actually Sonic, and he gets in like a big battle with it. And
Well, basically,
those scenes were so funny. I mean, you don't care how stupid Eggman is being during that. You just can't
I
help.
think also people pointed out that it could be a clear reference to how bad the Sonic ice creams look. Just eyes that way.
I don't know if this was
Oh
intense.
yeah, that's right.
Maybe you guys won't know what I'm talking
they
about,
taste
but I
good.
can help but get a little bit of a Song of the South vibe during that sequence. It reminds
Oh, the tar baby bit, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, similar setup. Eggman walks by, he talks to it, it doesn't talk back, and then he gets agitated and starts a fight with it's literally Song of the South.
True, although there's no
that's-
question of racism in there.
That's racist against hedgehogs.
So
Well,
here,
to be fair,
like
Eggman's racist
burlap
against
sack
everyone
or
on
something?
that island.
Here's what I was thinking. Actually, the overall tone of the humor here was definitely a real throwback to Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. Just in terms of how dumb Eggman is here, but it's so perfectly done. Like Orbot and Cubot, hey, it's me, your friend with the two tails. Watch my little dance.
Guy with the two tails. What's his name again? Watch me, Hambone.
They still got that.
Eggman just sends like all of his robots out at once. Charge! And then he has like that little acceptance speech,
Yeah, I was going to say there's. Yeah, for some reason, even though the thing doesn't move, there's one bit where it actually turns on its own. For some reason.
Yes, with the wind.
Yeah, with
Here
the
I
wind.
stand with my head full of it. Whoa, how long ago did I write this? Yeah. Well, we skipped a few scenes though.
Well, let's get to the main plot, basically.
So Styx wants to throw mud. Amy doesn't like that. Amy wants to knit. Styx doesn't like. And I'll admit the transition between the mud throwing and the knitting part was pretty funny. Amy says, "I'm sorry, Styx, but this isn't my cup of tea. I know something that is a cup of tea."
cup of
Styx is
tea.
like, "Why did you
What?
say that?" Well, and then she said, how she was finishing the thought.
to
Well,
an
you
out-
said
to
that
an-
like an hour ago.
Yeah, to an outside observer, it'll just be edited all together. Yeah, you can see them too.
Oh my god, Styx's response to that was just so funny.
Styx is just like, here's the fourth wall. Pam, pam, pam.
I know this is not
Fourth
real.
wall breaks in the show before, but dang, they just had a blast with it in this episode.
Actually,
Just like sometimes fourth wall jokes get tiring. I thought they were done well in this one.
I was going to say, this is now technically the third time they've done a time skip joke, because they did two of these in the Battle of the Boy Bands. Of,
So
wait,
yeah,
I
it's
got an
funny how
idea.
they're able to do it again, but still keep it funny.
I
It
know.
didn't feel worn out because they already did it previously.
I know, but it was surprising again. Styx's reaction of this is
Mhm.
weird.
I just love how she just glares at the camera and she looks like confused as heck. It's so.
She's confused, mortified, and ready to kill.
So yeah, Amy's solution was actually pretty clever. I'm taking them to a spa. That way, Styx can bathe in the mud, although she has to pay $40 for it.
But she just bring out the ironic status of you have to pay money to be in mud. So, but hey, we've done jokes like that.
So let me get
Yeah.
this straight. If I soak around the mud in the jungle, I'm a savage. But if I spend $40 to soak it in here, I'm civilized. Exactly, works for me.
She
Then
just
of
accepts
course,
it.
then Sonic calls Amy up, and you can hear like the audio from the scene,
previous episode.
when Sonic called her up, out of boredom. And so Belinda overhears, and that gives her the idea. Oh, Sonic is away. We can take over the village now. Charlie, he's a little busy excavating, so she has to go on without him. Meanwhile,
And-
Eggman finally destroys the Sonic decoy, and he realizes it's a fake, and he goes on a rampage.
As
He
he does
finds out
against
Amy
the child.
was behind it, and he does not take that well.
Yeah, we should mention the two things we bring up is one, how this episode came to be is both writers of this, basically the setup of this episode was they wanted to do a road trip episode, but they couldn't think of anything to do with Styx and Amy as a sort of B plot, as most sitcoms tend to do. You have the main plot and the B plot, and they kind of sometimes interconnect, or they're just like two separate things to cut away to. And
I
apparently
love how they did that. It didn't need to be done, but you're thankful they did it anyways because
But
they
that's
had
the
so
thing.
much
They
fun.
realized, we could just do this as a separate episode. Just do it as a weird one point of view, another point of view.
It's like the
About
saying. It's like the Doctor Light episodes from Doctor Who.
I was going to say that, but I was actually going to say, ironically, The Simpsons did one like this years ago. They did an episode where it was from Homer, Bart's, and Lisa's point of view, and it was kind of like their actions influenced what they were going on.
However, you
How
can't
about
say
what if they do a fan edit of these two different episodes where they actually where they actually show the events going on side by
Well,
side.
I did.
I was just gonna bring that up. I was gonna say it didn't really flow very well, though, if you think about it. Like,
There
you
was a
tell-
fan edit?
Yeah, like I can't really say it would have worked as a full episode, but watching them as two separate episodes, it still really works in my
Well,
opinion.
you're looking at someone who managed to who did basically as a laugh, putting all 4-parters of their 4-part epic together.
I mean, that was effortless, really. I mean, that's like anyone could do that for say.
Well, you never know. Maybe if I get bored, I'll do that one day.
Well, considering the other edits, I've seen the other edits that people have done. Niki's the only one that actually seems consistent. Everyone else is basically just happens to just. I don't know. You can tell it wasn't edited that well. It's like
I don't get.
cut it on the black out before Knuckles says anything, and go bring it back anyway.
All
Yeah.
right, hold my beer.
I don't normally get credit.
Pay
for
me
this
the
show.
money.
I'm taking it all.
Yeah, Amy and Styx, they then fight off Eggman. They threw in at least one movie parody, and another one is debatable. Well, the obvious one's The Matrix, when Styx drew like the fake nails and Eggman does the slow motion dot. He actually
I was gonna
hurts his
say,
back.
Are we at a point now where that's now considered okay to do again? Because it was okay in mid-99, 2000, but it got overdone, and now it's more of a quirk if you do it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, nowadays it's more like what was that movie again?
The thing with Keanu Reeves?
Can't say this was intentional, but I couldn't help but get a little bit of a Tangled vibe when Amy was fighting with, like a fake hair extension, a fur extension. It's like that really reminded me of Tangled just whipping her hair around.
You wouldn't know Clint was a Tangle fan here, folks. You wouldn't know that.
Well, I'm a big Disney fan. Not Disney Channel, though, but...
You mean the lemur, right?
Yeah. As soon as I saw Tangled, the lemur, I just had to make a picture of her dressed as Rapunzel with like an extra longer and she just looks
There
like...
is so many tangled stuff. There really is.
I think I was one of the first to jump onto that. There are people who made better, but like I was the first one to actually make a picture of her cosplay.
Trust me, mate, there are people
There's
who
one
could
of them where the actual D fell off and it hit Knuckles in the head.
So
the other go back to the
Here's-
episode. Another thing is Charlie's wife Belinda actually steals the mech suit and continues the actual battle.
She was amazing, and I just loved how she roasted the villagers. It's like, thank you. It's like, it's like, well, I kind of hope you get stopped, but thank you for at least doing that.
Well, we have mentioned they're a bunch of assholes anyway.
And here's another interesting thing that I continuously point out and whatnot every time I'm watching a TV show or a movie or what have you, and there's obviously some degree of formula going on here. I hate to mention it, but we have a case of the Chekhov's gun at play again. Earlier on in the episode, Styx is learning how to knit. Amy's getting her feet wet with mudslinging, and in the final climax, these skills come in handy.
That didn't really bother me. I mean, it did feel kind of forced, but it didn't. I kind of like that though, because we don't really see too many episodes with Styx and Amy, and so to see an episode where they learn from each other, even if it did feel a little sudden, I didn't care.
Yeah,
not a criticism, just pointing it out.
I mean, they've been doing this since series 1. Like, they have a problem, and the problem ends up becoming the solution to a bigger problem.
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing...
I think a majority of the episodes do that. It's like, this thing is in the beginning. Okay, so what we're going to do? How about a thing we actually showcase in Act 1? Like, I think Double Doomsday started it.
Foreshadowing, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, which we'll bring that back in a minute, actually. Actually, the other thing I want to bring out is that it's funny how since Charlie from Kind of Productive, has been now a villain, he doesn't seem to really care that much. It's like, I'll do it if I'm angry. It's his wife who really wants him to be a villain.
Well, she almost divorced him. Like, you're a villain now? Well, I'm staying around.
It's like the only reason she got back with him is because he finally stood up for himself. So she realized, oh, this will be easier to do evil now that my husband is a bit more assertive now, and so.
Although I will say, I know I joked about this earlier with the whole feminist thing with Star Wars, though I think someone could easily take this as like, oh, women are evil, but really, she's just a crazy person.
Yeah.
I mean, really, that's the whole thing. She's just a crazy person.
I mean, they made that obvious, like, right when, Knuckles first met her, like, how she just, if you have something to say, maybe you should just say it. And he's like, oh, she seems nice, or, and so.
Yeah, when they adopted
it obvious she's got, like, a bit of an edge to her, and they made it obvious when, she had her fingers crossed at the end, she's laughing maniacally, but.
Let's be fair, she's a loose cannon. I mean, the fact that she basically, and you, I don't know anything about you, but you look oddly familiar.
Yeah, and you, I just don't like the look of you. that cracked me up so hard. I didn't need an explanation, because I remember when you first see her, it's like, she looks like Lady Goat, except with slightly different color and a hat, and so she doesn't like Lady Goat because it looks exactly like her.
But the ending actually was pretty sweet. It's like, yeah, I didn't join in the battle because he was busy getting to get out a pair of wings for her.
Mm-hmm. Some kind of like ancient armor that allows her to fly.
All I can think of is basically the bonus clip at the end of Ant-Man.
And so they become a power couple, and it's like, darn, that was a wasted opportunity. I remember as soon as you saw that, you're expecting, they're gonna show up in the finale,
something.
And darn, we don't see them again for the rest.
Again, if we go season 3, hopefully, but who knows?
I mean, if I recall, we only saw them one other time in the series, and that was the B episode, You and I Become One, where Tails becomes a B-bot. Because they were at the villains retreat. That's the last I recall seeing them in this show. But yeah, like what they did with this episode though was great though. I loved how they teased the idea of them becoming a bigger threat, and it's like, that. But before that happened, we at least got like a little epilogue where Amy and Styx are wow, here we thought Eggman was the one we needed to worry about, but it was Belinda all along. And then you never know what to expect. And then Eggman, it looked like he either repaired the Sonic doll that Amy, or he.
Oh yes, he
won.
He's just dragging it back to his lair. So
it's his now. He's gonna do devious things to it.
Yep.
You abandoned it. It's mine now.
Many people.
You see that white stuff in there? That's not cotton.
I was just about to say, people made a lot of jokes like, I hope Eggman washes that. We don't know what Amy did with it.
Oh yeah, knowing her. Actually, one thing I should ask before I get to ratings: out of the two, which do you prefer? Because I personally think I prefer the Styx and Amy one in a weird way.
Same here.
I agree. Styx and Amy's staycation, there's a lot more. It's like it works a lot more because it didn't have many characters to focus on. Whereas the Doomobile one had, it's like at least so much you can actually do with three characters, and probably gets a bit too tedious.
Well, like I said, I mean, that one was more of a road trip. This was more like, what are those two doing? And it's because essentially you have three things going on at the same time that all correlate in the end. But it's a case of you're not quite sure how the hell they correlate.
Yeah, after seeing the Dudemobile episode, I wasn't sure if this one was going to be as good. And I was, it's like, wow, I actually think I laughed more at this. I mean, the last one, it had moments, but if you think about it, a lot of it relied on parodies. And this one, it had at least one notable parody, and that wasn't one of the strengths of the episode. But it's like everything else, from Styx and Amy's, action scenes to their development, to Eggman's shenanigans, to Belinda's decline not decline, but uprising as a villain. It's like, a lot more. I feel like a lot more actually happened in this episode, and it left me more satisfied and surprised in the end.
You, James?
I'm gonna say this is a tie for me. Just, you're right. There's a lot more originality in terms of how this episode plays out, but in terms of execution, that's what really matters the most. So, I give it 4 deadly nails out of 5.
I give it 5 blown up Sonic dolls out of 5.
I give it 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the first time.
4's like a good number for me. It's just it's a lot more. I enjoyed it a lot more than Doomobiles.
If I recall, this was number 5 out of my top 10 favorite Sonic Boom episodes of season 2.
It's not the first time either that that Eggman's gotten his mitts on a Sonic doll, there was also that case in Adventures.
That was the first thing I thought of when I saw it. It reminded me of the E102 target practice.
He actually meant the TV show Adventures, because there's a whole bit where he
Adventures.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
there was an
Oh,
Adventures
sorry, I thought-
episode.
Well,
where
it's true. I
he's-
mean, he does have a pack of dolls in that game, which basically means, Jesus, he really does go to effort of fabricating a bunch of, of his enemies.
Anyway, moving on to Insanity. Eggman turns his base into a hotel,
So we can pay off a debt, basically.
pretty much.
This was a very mixed episode for me. It had funny moments, but I thought the writing was overall very... They even had to point out multiple times that, wow, you know, they basically acknowledged, wow, the writers really don't care about this episode. They're just phoning it in.
Mm-hmm. I
Um,
mean,
I probably like it more than probably you lot do, but we'll get to that in a minute.
well, I thought it was very predictable, too. I actually predicted the twist of who the reviewer was because that character kept showing up throughout the episode, and it's like, okay, it's obviously her, but... however, there were a few funny moments, though. You know, like Orbot and Cubot's salesman pitch. I did get a laugh out of Sonic and Pal's testing to see if Eggman's really up, and, you know, the part where Leroy the Turtle says, "My pillows are missing." What do you mean they're missing? And then you see Sticks took like all the pillows she built for it. Fight me in here, and yeah, I did get a laugh out of that.
it's the little things. Yeah, I realized when revisiting this episode the other day just how forgettable I thought it was.
Exactly.
This is one of the few episodes I just didn't finish.
I just feel like they could have done so much with this episode. They really didn't.
It's kind of a shame when Guest House Paradiso does a better job.
I just couldn't help but be reminded of
Ooh.
Krusty Towers from SpongeBob and remembering how much of a better episode that was.
Well, we should really get onto this. I mean, really, the whole point of this episode is basically, what if Eggman becomes Bowser faulty? I mean, essentially, that's the main gimmick.
I think
Oh,
these
yeah.
are some of the. I think these are some of the weakest episodes of Sonic Boom when they, you know, basically put Eggman in the real world where he has to like pay a bill or worry about a landlord, and he's all of a sudden, you know, he's a freaking villain. He should be like, no, if you try going on my doorstep, try going near. I got weapons, you know.
Well, let's be fair. I mean, the gang have gone onto his doorstep and he's opened it, so.
I just. I
Yeah,
don't know.
outside of complaining about, hey, how many times I had to keep repairing that wall.
Exactly. So let's be
Well-
fair. He flip-flops from who can come in and not.
I just
Well,
can't stand
just
it.
about
when
any
they-
time they deal with real world issues in this show, that's when it sort of destroys the magic of it.
They
I
can,
don't know.
Before-
Having a real, because
they
we
can
said
still
this-
make Eggman menacing but funny at the same time, and I just can't stand it when they just make him look like a total wimp. You know, it's like, oh, he's afraid of the government. Oh, why hasn't that stopped him in previous episodes? You know, why is he all of a sudden scared now? I just can't stand that.
Well, they
because
did.
he's kind of like I always say this because I watched the entire series. He's like Michael Scott from The Office, the American version of The Office, not the fucking shit Ricky Gervais is. Even though he cameos in it twice.
Oh boy.
But the character Michael Scott in The Office is desperately lonely and wants to be liked and the center of attention. That basically you add villainy into it, and that's pretty much what Eggman is in Boom.
That is
He
true.
wants to be feared, but he wants to be liked.
Well, the way they do it, though, it doesn't make Eggman look evil. It just makes him look like a bully. You know, he claims he's evil. And so, okay, let's see you be evil. Because...
But it's like with the Office Michael. I'm going to do a lot of references to that show. I really am. The last episode was pretty good. But Michael Scott's character, like, he thinks he's the best comedian on the planet. But none of his jokes are funny.
Mhm.
That's why Eggman being a threat is not taken as seriously unless he starts opening fire.
Well, it's like you could say Sonic X did it a little better. He was, you know, he was sinister but very wacky at the same time. It varied, and so.
But he has a
Sonic
slot
Boom-
machine to pick out
in
his
Sonic Boom,
robots.
they have too many moments where they treat him like a joke to the point where, wait, isn't he supposed to be Sonic's arch enemy? Yet they make so many episodes that show he's actually the worst villain in the village. You know, it's. I can't stand it when they make episodes like that. If they do, they should at least make
Well,
them
at least the
fun.
next episode kind of explains why.
we'll get to that.
Yeah, I'll have a lot to say about that one.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, for me, it was I probably got more of a kick out of it for really two reasons. One is because, like I said, it's overtly trying to be Fawlty Towers, and a lot of it, there's a lot of moments like Fawlty Towers. There's a whole bit where I ask about the newspaper, the people complaining, and the thing about Buster Fawlty, people forget about this, is that he's actually not a nice person. He's actually quite a stickler, self-centered dick, essentially. I mean, a lot of the times he will not care, unless you're someone of medical profession or higher up, he will spit in your face with acid or grovel around your legs because he's that type of character. And there are moments in this episode where they feel like there's extracts of some of the episodes, like you said, the whole hotel inspector and the whole gag being that you think it's a store, turns out to be Amy, which I thought was kind of fun. And also the fact that the gang are basically there just to piss him off. That for me was the thing that really enjoyed me, because they know
it's the same kind of character archetype from Black Books.
Yeah, I mean, God,
he has a bookstore but doesn't want to freaking sell any.
I know, he's such an asshole in that show.
These are all breadcrumbs, people. Look them up.
I just think the episode could have been a lot funnier if it was more focused on Eggman having to put up with Sonic and his pals, testing him. It's like, because those scenes are kind of amusing. There weren't enough of those.
Yeah, there is a bit where Knuckles is trying out the towels, and he just does his bit of Emperor Caligula thing, like he does.
Excuse me, boy. It reminded me of that scene in Cabin Fever when he took all of Amy's.
I know. He said, "I am the Emperor."
That's his famous. Okay, any chance to make a toga, he will fucking do it.
I will admit there was another part in the episode that kind of cracked me up. Well, besides Q-Bot's, false portrayal of
that whole bird thing, that was hilarious.
How he misheard everything and he's trying to remember. But I loved the part where Orbot is trying to tell Eggman to stop, try being a little nicer to the. And then Fastidious comes up. Eggman snaps at it, and Orbot's perfectly fine with him getting mad at Fastidious. He actually compliments him for doing that.
Everyone gets mad at Fastidious, I think.
I couldn't help but laugh at that. It's like, okay, Orbot excused the last person Eggman got, but then when it's he's fine.
This
says,
guy is like,
sir.
yeah.
Well done, sir.
It gets to a point where I can't remember which episode it is, where it's like about to say whoever rather than whomever, and there's Fastidious in the window just glaring at him.
Yeah.
I think after that point, it's like no one cares. No one cares.
He's ready to correct him, and he's robbed of that moment, and he just sinks off.
It's like in the last episode, Belinda. I know I can't be the only one who's sick of him. It's like that's the first time a character in the show actually trashed.
That's why I swear, maybe both or one of the writers, one of the many writers of the show, are actually watching this podcast and stealing our ideas. I swear.
I can't remember what we said. We're not the makers of the show. So.
No, but it's like all of a sudden it's like we don't like this character. Okay, the Gobobers. I don't fucking like them. Hate them. I want to get rid of. I like now. Ever since that episode, or ever since I talked about that, every episode now is just basically, hey, the Gogobers. No one fucking likes them.
Well, I think season 2's done a good job about that, though. If they're gonna have them show up, it's like, okay, we've listened to people's complaints, so we're gonna, make fun of these characters. We're gonna point out how annoying they are.
We don't want to make fun of them. We want them to go away.
It's the fact that Amy, like you said in the Bees, Amy's episode of the Bee is basically that she just goes right past it, and then he feels guilty.
Yeah, I laughed so hard. It's like out of all the characters, you think Amy would have been the one to sympathize with it. It's like, okay, she's heard of these guys. She knows what they're gonna do, and so she took advantage of it.
Yeah,
and that was hilarious.
Oh yeah, and as he said earlier, the Doomsday device makes another appearance, as Hobart points out. You haven't used it since season 1. Now we need something a bit more original. And it ends up almost killing everyone, which I thought that was how the episode went. They all die.
At least it actually exploded rather than make a black hole again. Then again, now it's 2 Doomsday devices.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ending was pretty weak. I mean, Eggman, he snaps and he holds everyone hostage. And it's like, oh, thank goodness Styx was there. Otherwise, they would have been screwed because of that dumb mayor.
Yeah.
The mayor was more focused about looking for his negotiation hat, instead of worrying about the hostages. It's like, wow, Mayor, you are a real asshole,
He's a politician. They have 2 faces.
Well, the fight scene was kind of cool, but then everything that happened after that just kind of fell apart. I mean, it's like, wow, how stupid is that Red Heron character? well, even though it was all based on plot contrivances, you showed me with kindness. Holding you hostage? Well, it's like right when he finds out he's not the inspector, he like swipes, like the bread rolls he was giving him. He yells at him, and then he holds him hostage, threatening to kill him, if he doesn't get his money from the... It's like, you treated him with kindness?
Maybe he's been to Faulty Towers. Maybe that's his excuse. I've been there, and I know what Basil Fawlty was like. This is nothing. You actually were
what the hell is wrong with that stupid...
At least no one died.
I know, but it's just like...
At least you didn't try to get a corpse out of the building.
If that happened to you, though, would you really be willing to help out, help repair this madman's... I don't know, the red hair, and he just looked like a complete idiot. It's a shame, too. I mean, he had a really cool character design. I remember, like, when that character first... It's like, oh, I like the design of this character. And it's like, that's all he's used for? He's just an imbecile, basically? And, well, the joke was kind of funny at the end. Eggman. So everything will go back to normal then. And then he's still wondering why his trash has...
Including the problem...
That was kind of funny, I'll admit.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got to pay a fine now for opening a hotel but not paying for the license.
Basically, he ends up back right where he started. Poetic justice.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember. I know I put this somewhere on like my top 10 least favorite episodes of season 2. It was a very mixed episode. It wasn't like, I wouldn't say it was the absolute worst. It had its moments, but it was just kind of forgettable. I feel like there's so much better they could have done with this.
You're saying that a lot with this particular batch of episodes.
Yeah, he's got a Tumblr page.
Least favorite.
Yeah, by the way, he's
actually got... sorry. I really like the Fleabot episode in the vacation episodes. But yeah, so mixed bag. 3 of them I loved, 3 of them, kind of mixed.
So,
sorry to tell you this, but the next one was my least favorite of the ones we're talking about.
Don't worry, we'll go.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, overall, Insanity I give 2.5. It adds good moments, but other than that, I couldn't sit through it.
You lost interest, basically.
I lost interest. That's only happened for 3 episodes.
And they're only like 10 minutes long.
Yeah.
2.5 doomsdays out of 5.
That's the sad part of it, really. Yeah. 10 minutes long and I can't stand them.
Sorry, James, did you say?
I can't remember now. I give it 1.5. 1.5 hotel licenses out of 5.
Okay. I might give it 3. Like I said, I'm probably out of all of us, I'm the one who actually enjoyed it more. But hey, at least we're sane people. Because if we were just people...
I couldn't help but laugh at how this episode aired the same week the Crash Insane trilogy came out. Insanity. I couldn't help but laugh at it. I remember making a Tumblr post about that one.
Yes.
Does this make this week Crash Insanity? Ha 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 ha! Laugh at me, please! Okay.
All right.
Crystals, of course. Anyway, moving on to the last episode of this podcast segment. 35.
Hang on.
We're taking a quick break. Future Dan, cut! And cut here. Well done, Future Dan. So, anyway, Mr. Eggman. Turns out Eggman does not have a villain license, which would explain his character a whole lot and why the villagers are exactly afraid of him that much.
And it broke out in like a real cringy musical number.
I don't think it was cringy. I think that's one of the most funniest things I have ever heard.
I just wanted it to... I like musicals, and I even said, like, God, I would love to see, like, a musical episode. The problem is if they ever did, I'd want it to be good, though. They just tried making the characters sound so badly at sing. I mean, God, like, hearing Dave's mom sing, it's like, oh, shut up. Hearing Dave sing, it's like, oh, it was just so annoying. I know it's a parody. Like, I can't remember what it... I know it's parodying off something.
It's a parody of the Goin' Steady musical number from Bye Bye Birdie.
Mm-hmm. Like, because I saw the original clip after, people were pointing out this is, and it's like, of all the musical numbers you could have done a parody of, why did they have to, I don't know. I just didn't care for that scene. It was.
Well, would you rather they pick a number from Grease?
Yes, actually, I
I've
would.
never seen that movie, so I wouldn't.
You've never seen.
How do you not see Grease? It's like
I've heard of it, but I've never seen it. I just know
You
it's got.
claim that you love musicals, but you have not seen the greatest. What is arguably the greatest modern musical of our
Wait, one
age.
minute you're talking like that's a bad thing, now you're defending it? What's going on here? You're like, well, at least it wasn't something from Grease. Now you're saying it's a good thing.
That's the bad thing.
Because repeating because they've done so many Grease homages over the years, it actually got tiresome.
It's like
Well,
you hear the music at
let's say
every
this,
single
at least it
freaking
wasn't High
disco as
School
well.
Musical.
Exactly.
At least it
Trust me,
wasn't
this
High School
country.
Musical.
I would say I would have preferred if it was a Grease musical rather than Bye Bye Birdie, because I have no idea what the fuck Bye Bye Birdie even is. At least Grease is actually recognizable. Then again, all the actual references, I don't think 10-year-olds are going to get anyway.
Well,
But
we've talked about it before.
But yeah, this is apparently a number that is only being remembered now because shows like this like to spoof it. They did it in Family Guy as well before.
Oh, Family Guy's always spoofing all kinds of musicals.
Yeah, I would have preferred Grease. At least like what song from there would have been good for this?
Well, there's Tell Me More, Grease Lightning.
Look at me, I'm Sandra Dee. That's the one.
Well, I just thought the musical number
Look
out of
at me, I'm Dr. E.
There you go.
Now,
I thought the way it happened, it just came out of nowhere, though. You know, it's like, you know, I always thought, like, if they made a musical episode, it would have been funny if they gave it a good setup. Whether it was, you know, like Amy's making, like, some kind of play and she wants everyone to be in it or something, you know, it's like that would have given the characters a reason for why they're singing all the way they're just singing just because Stacy heard Eggman. I thought that felt really out of place.
Well, it's funny because the reason they did it, apparently, was because they thought, well, a good way to tell the story. Or maybe in the case of they just thought, oh, it'd be funny, we'll just do a shout-out musical.
I don't know. Like, I just think they could have done a little funnier. You know, like maybe if the song was actually good,
Yeah,
like, if it actually sounded good, it would have been worth it. But
yeah, the setup would have been better.
I just remember when I was thinking like, what the heck is going on? You know, it's like
I just find it funny that of all the characters, she's the one who starts it up. It's like, you know, musical number is like, really?
I mean, even Styx is joining in on it, and she looks like she's having everyone was. You even see like T.W. Barker's there, and
So let's be fair. If they're all going to find out that the main nuisance of the island is in trouble, but obviously they're going to jump up and down and have a parade.
So
yeah, and Knuckles dabs. Apparently, that's outdated now.
I didn't notice that, but I'm kind of glad I didn't now. But
Is that what they call it? The dab?
Dab, yeah.
Apparently.
So yeah, then everyone starts harassing Eggman because he's not a doctor, and it's like, wait a minute, didn't the first episode Eggman already acknowledge that? You know,
mentions
I'm
his father's a
not
doctor.
a PhD or anything, and so all of a sudden Sonic's like, I can't believe Eggman isn't really a doctor. It's like, really, Sonic, really?
Well, let's be fair, that was for an intern for a sidekick, and I think at that point he's less concerned about, I don't care about your academics, I just want Tails to not be killed.
Mm-hmm. But why is it such a big deal now? You know, it's like, so they're acting like Eggman was never a big. Well, they're acting like Eggman was a big deal before, and now he isn't. It's like, if you think, well, I don't know. Like, if you ask me, that's kind of scary, regardless. If whether a madman has an IQ or not, it's like, you know, if someone's dangerous, it doesn't matter what their brain level is, you know?
Well, let's be fair, what's more weird is the fact that this village has to have a permit to be villainous, is in if you do it out of bounds, you're basically banned from doing anything, which is like, how odd is this village moral is? I
hate the episodes that do that. I will admit, Evil Dr. Orbot was the only one that got away with it because of what it was able to do with Orbot, you know, and that made up. I almost thought I was going to hate that episode because of how it started off, but their humor for the rest of it made up for it.
Hmm.
So for this episode, I don't really.
Yeah, we still have yet to get onto the story.
Yeah, well, basically, Eggman goes to college, and we do all the various, again, National Lampoons.
It's Billy Madison with Eggman, basically.
Yes, we'll do that.
Actually, I was thinking of fuck, what was it?
I was thinking of
it's the one with Beta House. What the fuck was it called?
Animal House?
That's the one.
Animal House, that was the one. Yes, Animal House.
Toga.
We already did the Toga with Knuckles in the previous episode.
Well, this didn't really feel. I wouldn't say this really felt like a college movie parody.
No.
It had the same kind of setups, like even like
He goes to class, everybody's a bit odd or mean to him. He doesn't fit in. He doesn't know what to do.
He becomes the goat boy.
He becomes the goat boy. He has a weird nightmare with the
I'll
goat.
admit that was one of the only things I loved about just that nightmare sequence. But
Apparently
this episode
apparently
just felt like filler. It's like a lot of the scenes felt really forced. We already have that like out of place a musical number at the beginning, and then all of a sudden Amy, we'll have plenty to do while Eggman has his failure montage, and then it cuts to a montage with a real cringy song. Apparently, it's like the French version is better because it doesn't have the lyrics. It's just the music.
I don't remember. I mean, well, actually, speaking of that, the bizarre thing, this is kind of fun little trivia, is we knew there was an episode coming up where they get racing cars and there was going to be a whole episode about it. And ironically, this is the first time we see them.
Well,
I'm not too sure whether or not these episodes were broadcast out of order. Because
I probably would say
on other lists, it's like
they were produced out of order. Actually, I think is what the issue was.
probably, yeah. I mean, like I said, this is what happens that you make.
This episode was written later, but it accidentally got made first.
yeah, chronologically, this comes in much later.
Mm-hmm.
So if you build it, they will. It's like this should have been if you build it, they will race, and you also have Eggman's brother. It's like those would have been much earlier episodes, but we're going by the actual broadcast numbers of this one.
So I feel very mixed about the montage scene because it actually was kind of fun. I like seeing Sonic Pals just goofing off, but but then you have that cringy song in the background. I like the French version better where it didn't have those cringy lyrics. I hate montages that just have like those lazy lyrics that point out we're a montage, we're wasting time, we don't care.
Well, let's be fair. The show has been doing a lot of montages. I mean, if anything, that's what they always do to eat up time, as you said. I mean,
I don't like it when they point out it's a montage.
the
episode just reminded me.
Montage.
Yeah.
The episode just reminded me that wow, this episode's plot is that weak. It's showing how much more fun this episode would have been if it was about just Sonic and Pals. Instead, it's like they could have tried focusing more on making an episode about Eggman going to school fun. Nope, they didn't care. They just shove in a montage of Sonic and Pals having fun. It has nothing to do with the episode, and that just really stood out. It's like, wow, you can tell the writers. It's like this episode technically shouldn't have been made. You can tell they had nothing to really offer for it.
I'm struggling to remember anything funny Eggman did in an episode. I am struggling a bit.
I mean, the plot twist was so predictable, first we'll talk about, Eggman, he had like that assignment where he had to get like a rubber gasket. And so Sonic, it's literally like the excuse a dog ate my homework, except it was Sonic and Pals, prevented Eggman from doing his homework, which required stealing that gasket from, like a store. So, I mean, that was another instance where you could tell the writers didn't care because Sonic's like, well, guys, I guess we got to stop Eggman from doing his homework. I don't care. And, then they start throwing the rubber gasket around. That was a little funny. I mean, it was kind of like, Sonic and Pals were like bullies, except it was like reverse. They were stopping a villain, but it almost made them look like bullies. And
to be fair, I think it was so disinterested. It's like, I guess we got to do this.
So they went from that to all of a sudden having fun, and then Sonic's like, can we go now? Collecting rings is boring. It's like, that didn't really hit it for me. I get what they were trying to do, but it was just throwing in a game reference that really didn't really make a joke at all.
At the same time, because I think it's because of the constant references to rings in Sonicguru Lines of Lyric. Rings! Yum, 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 yum.
But I feel like they could have done a funnier... If they want to make a reference at the games, they could. That was probably one of the weakest game references they made in Sonic Boom.
The last major one they did was in the whole the whole made-up game they have. Is like, the whole series went downhill in 3D. That's the last one.
It should have called into Metapotamus's legs.
Yeah.
But it's like also I thought that one. It's like, wow, isn't collecting rings actually one of the fun parts from Sonic games? So saying collecting rings is boring. That's supposed to be funny because I don't know, but
well, like I said, there's only so many things you could do, and I guess that becomes tiresome after a while.
Mm-hmm. But I
they
will
crossed my
admit,
feelings.
Eggman's nightmare sequence was hilarious. I did get a good laugh out. It was just so bizarre. You just see like his teacher.
Was that, and also had that very trippy, wobbly background thing, which God knows what they did.
And we see Sonic making a tricks reference. Silly Eggman, rings are for hedgehogs. And then Eggman does his that hilarious scream he used at the end of the I Can See Sonic's Fear from Here.
Yeah, I think it's either Mike or it's that goat screaming thing, because there is somewhere.
Oh, that was Mike Pollock. But I did like how someone made a video where they compared how his scream really sounds like the goat scream in a way. It's like, was that Mike Pollock's inspiration? Did he just try?
Well, let's be fair. If Mike could do that, he really is a talented voice actor.
Yeah.
Mike Pollock. Mike Pollock. Is he a Polak or?
Pollock, I think. But
Pollock.
I can tell that was his voice. That was definitely his scream.
Okay.
Yeah, and the actual ending
Even-
the ending to it is basically, hey, you got to get this test right, and it turns out, oh yeah, Eggman just steals the cheat sheet, but it turns out all the actual answers were wrong.
It turns out that was the point.
That was so predictable, though, the fact that he passed because, oh, this is an evil class, so because Eggman stole the answers, he graduates? I saw that.
That made sense to me.
It makes sense in a stupid way, but hey.
And then, so the episode basically ends, pointing out how pointless this episode was. Sonic says, oh, I hope we get to do more next week. And sadly, it didn't, because if I recall, the next episode was the Haunted Lair, and that was my second least favorite episode of the season.
Yeah, well, it's funny because, again, it was. I did think that as like, well, he definitely nailed the head about saying, yeah, I hope you guys get more to do, because as I said before,
it's like, wow, you get an episode where they're even in it like almost less, and I did not like that episode.
Yeah, but again, production order, whatever,
Mhm.
If that
Well,
was
at least the episode after those two got better. I actually did like the Temple of Doom episode, the return of. But I just noticed, like, ever since Insanity, they just kept making a streak of Eggman-centered episodes, and that's where season 2 is kind of going a little downhill for me, because I love season 2 overall up until. But it got better afterwards. I thought.
I was going to ask, actually, what about you two? Do you feel like, halfway through the series, do you think it's been there's a bit of a slog halfway through, or what?
I do, like I said, I think as soon as the 4-parter was over, there seems to be normality, and it just kind of like, I don't know, you see the same kind of tropes over. Like, not until like episode 40 does it actually just change the status quo a little bit.
Get back in again.
Mm-hmm. I can't at least say it got better, after all these strings of Eggman episodes. But then that's the thing.
At least it's Eggman episodes and not Knuckles episodes, because Knuckles episodes are fucking crap.
I personally didn't mind
Knuckles is like the chocolate. Knuckles is like the cat in Red Dwarf. He's essentially a chocolate chip and a cookie. It's like the rest of it could be pretty good, and you get the small bite of chocolate, and it's like it's that much better because you have good one-liners. But when you just have a whole chocolate bar, it's like, eh.
I think I know how to make Dan flip here. Hey Dan, what would you say about an episode where Knuckles becomes king of the Go-Go Village?
Oh, well, that would never happen because he's never welcome back there.
Oh well.
It's just.
Well, put it this way:
It's
if
gonna
they're
happen now.
well, let's be fair. If Dan's right, if they're watching this, they may take that idea. So you've doomed us all.
Just have the Go-Go Village do mass suicide. I don't care about them. That sounds dark, but fuck
I think
it,
that episode would work if you think Knuckles would be such a bad leader. He'd actually cause them to get extinct in the end or something under his leader. And it's like, oh, they're gone.
What happened? Well, I took a nap, and I don't know what happened. But I like Mr. Eggman. I think it's actually, even though it's predictable, it's actually pretty fun. It's like one of the few Eggman-focused episodes I actually enjoyed.
All right.
So I'd give it a 3.5.
See, if we were on the message board here, everybody would be telling him he's a wanker and he's wrong. So this is actually the reason why we get together to say we're not all assholes.
I'm surprised. I actually saw a lot of people agreeing that they didn't like Mr. Eggman very much.
All right. But
I thought it was enjoyable.
Like some said it wasn't that bad, but I did hear a lot of people complaining about the episode too. So.
All right.
I get people complaining. I get people saying how Sonic 06 is not that bad of a game when it's still one of the worst ones I fucking played.
And you played it more than that's necessary, haven't you? Yes,
Um,
that is too many.
Well, Sonic 06, that's a game I'm very mixed about. There are parts I liked, but yes, I understand why it's bad, and yes, the game should have been better. I cannot deny that.
And for people who say, "Oh, Sonic Forces is just like 06," no, it's not.
At least
Yeah,
Forces
like-
works.
I wouldn't say like Mr. Eggman was like although it was my second least favorite episode of the season, I wouldn't say like it infuriated me. It's just that it just didn't entertain me. It was just real. You could tell the writers just. Oh no, I'm sorry. This is my third least favorite because.
So it's a shard crystal of the
Which is
Sonic
it, my
Boom.
third least or my
It's a
fourth
shard
least?
crystal of Sonic Boom.
It's inoffensive. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'd probably give this episode 2 out of 5.
Okay.
For me, it's gonna be, it's gonna be, three completely outdated Mission Impossible references out of 5. You finally found something that's even worse than the Matrix reference. Good for you, show. Good for you.
Put it this way.
Especially when the actual broken back Matrix thing was done in Scary Movie 1.
Mm-hmm. And much better to a certain degree.
Mm-hmm.
So, I say that because this is an average episode, but I could just watch that. I could watch the Bye Bye Birdie spoof on repeat. I don't care what you guys say.
Yeah, I agree.
sorry.
That Bye Bye
It's
Birdie,
not
the musical was just funny.
Yeah, I mean, everybody apples and creams, whatever. I mean, some people love it, some people hate it. Again, if we were on a message board, we would be sending death threats to each other while we were.
I got death threats for saying I like Sonic. No,
Yes.
not alone on my actual Sonic message board.
I'm not sure if anyone else really hated it. Like I didn't hate it. It's just like, oh, I wish that was better because I did kind of think it'd be funny to see the characters break out into a musical number, but the way they did, it's like, I wanted it to be good is the problem.
Actually, put it this way. If they were to do a musical episode, what would you want them to do music-wise? Would you want it to be one type or go into different types?
I just want them to come up with their own honest. I hate how everyone thinks a musical has to be a parody. Well, it's like, a lot of these musicals, they weren't parodies; they were their own things, and I just want to see Sonic make their own.
It's like, as a kids' TV show, it kind of needs to be a parody or at least a reference.
I would say, actually, a good example I can give you is in Batman Brave and the Bold. They had an entire episode that was a musical. They went from being like folk opera to semi-techno, love song, Eddie's rock, full-on choir craziness.
Which episode was that?
I'll
watch.
The Mayhem of the Music Meister, which literally the entire episode is about a guy who wants to control the world by using his voice.
I guess best way to put it is they should go like an Animaniacs approach. If just like take like some kind of piece of music and add lyrics to it.
Do their own like funny spin to
United
it.
States, Canada, Mexico, Panama, Haiti, Jamaica, Peru.
Yeah, like
he still does gigs at that. He still gets gigs doing that. To this
He extended it. He added new lyrics to it because the actual countries have changed their names.
Brilliant.
Just watching those shows, it makes me realize, wow, you don't see shows like these anymore. They need to come back.
Well,
they're
he's coming
bringing
back,
it back.
but we don't know.
Pray it will be good. Pray it will be good.
Anyway, ratings. I haven't done mine. About 2.5. Like I said, I like the sing part, which, we'll put it this way, by the time this gets out, you may see something at the end of this video if Dan remembers to put it in. But
Considering I need to edit a few things in here, then yeah, I'm going to.
Okay. You Dan, did you have your rating?
Yeah, I just said 3. I said 3 or 3.5 because I find it more enjoyable than most people. Then again, I actually find a lot of things of Sonic more enjoyable than most people.
Yeah, and apparently we can't have nice things because we're a bunch of furry fuckers.
So let's see, I was the only one who liked the
I'm still not letting that go, IGN.
So I was the only one who liked the Fleetwood episode, and you guys are the only ones who like the Mr. Eggman? Okay.
We'll put it this way. I actually went on IGN's website talking about the rumor about... Oh, sorry, James. You right?
Sorry, my dad just interrupted me to inform me that Elon Musk has shot his red convertible into outer space as a payload. What were we talking about?
What?
Was that
Okay,
a reference we're not getting, or?
I'm not kidding.
All right. Well,
What was the? Yeah. I was gonna say before I was sidetracked there. In terms of a musical episode, I was going. I more or less revert back to the only Buffy episode that I've ever seen, which is Once More with Feeling. If they could pull off a musical two-parter at the very least. If they have some episode where Eggman's just messing around and decided to make a song bot or something like that.
I remember the Penguins of Madagascar. They made an episode like that where like an evil villain had like a machine that caused everyone to sing.
Oh, they did. Oh.
Yeah, it was Dr. Bullhole's Revenge or something. It was like a TV movie. But...
I just had to Google what you said, and yeah.
We'll put it this way: we're worried about Sonic Boom not getting talked about compared to that as like Penguins of what in the movie.
No, the actual.
No, not the movie.
Said Elon Musk,
like the one that was on Nickelodeon.
Right.
Elon Musk sending a car into space.
All right, okay, all right, we're going with that thing again, I guess.
Playing Space Oddity. I'm just. Now you know where the hell we actually recorded this date. Okay.
There's your reference point, kids.
Well, it's like, well, I guess like Sonic Boom, if they made a musical, if not like a Steven Spielberg style, maybe like a Disney inspired, like like kind of inspired by Aladdin, or I don't know, but I mean
that crossover has been made in terms of fan art.
That's true.
Well, like I said,
for that anyway.
Like I said, I wouldn't really want a Sonic Boom musical to be a parody, but maybe have some inspirations. But I don't know. Why does everything why does every musical nowadays have to be a parody in TV shows?
Well,
why can't they just make their own songs up anymore?
It costs more to actually hire songwriters and musicians than just like, can you do a MIDI parody of this? Like, oh, fair enough, just get a cover and it'll just write lyrics to it.
I just can't stand that. They just want to rush everything now. They don't care about taking the time to make art anymore, and that's something that really bugs me.
That's the industry for you, but that's another topic for another time.
Well, anyway, that concludes this segment of the Sonic Boom podcast. Not too sure when we're actually going to finish this, but hopefully you can do it after I come back from vacation.
Put it this way, if we end up doing it in the UK, that will mean less camera trouble.
Yeah.
So, who knows?
So, next time we'll get around another 6 episodes, starting with The Haunted Lair, and we'll see where we end from there. But again, thank you all so much for watching. I'm Sonicguru, Niki, James, Clint. I'm just doing it by the camera angles. Subscribe for more, ring the bell, support this on Patreon, and also check out our Twitters, see what we're up to. If anyone's actually still active on Twitter, I'm not too sure. I know you are. You retweet everything by Revolution Studios.
Oh, is that finally become more apparent?
Yeah. And Rare Studios sometimes.
All right.
All right then.
All right. And thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you all next time.
See you later, dudes.
Not ciao for now.
I'm stealing a line from Matt this time.
All right.
Why do you all look like you just finished a musical number? Ooh!